What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the Sennheiser HD450 SE. So, let's get right into it. So I've been looking at the Sennheiser Point series for a while, and I kept seeing that there was actually a new variant. Every time I go to a store, there's a new variant. There was the 4.3, the 4.4, and now the 4.5 Special Edition. I actually got these on sale during Amazon Prime Day, and here we are. I think I got them for around $145, and right now they're around $250, so they're pretty expensive. But is it worth the price point? Well, let's talk about that. So what we have here is a wireless Bluetooth headset. It has noise cancellation, it folds, it can connect through a direct line, and you can charge it through a micro USB cable. The noise cancellation, when it works pretty great. It does cancel out noise, and it does not introduce any extra noise on top. Except the times where you're playing music or you just turn it on and the noise cancellation actually glitches. But after something happens like playing some audio or knocking on the headset itself, it will fix up the noise cancellation. Basically, how noise cancellation works is you have a microphone that will listen to the environment, then it will produce its own noise at the same frequency as the noise in your environment in order to cancel it out. And sometimes if you knock on that microphone that is listening to the environment, it will actually end up with a loud screeching noise, which is pretty bad. So sometimes I'll turn it on and it would end up with a high-pitched noise on my left ear or both of them. That is something that I encountered. I haven't seen anyone else having this problem, so it could be just this unit right here. But that out of the way, yes, the noise cancellation does work, and it works very well. But how is the sound quality, you may ask? Well, it actually sounds very similar to my HD598s. They're very neutral, and overall, not a whole lot of low end. Everything is very clear, and again, neutral, a bit on the warmer side, but nothing crazy. They're not going to be colorful like some other headsets like Beats or Bose with some punchy bass, and since these are closed back, they're not going to have that big of a soundstage like these HD598s because these are open back. Are they as good as the 598s? Of course not. These are Bluetooth headphones, not a fair comparison, but it is very neutral and it does sound very similar to the HD598. Very similar sound profile. I wish there was a bit more detail in the mids, but it's still very, very good. If you run out of battery, you can hook it up directly through the included 3.5mm connection. And no, you cannot charge it while listening to music at the same time. So don't plan on running out of battery when you need it the most. Or what you could do is actually keep this cable on you at all times in this little bag that is included. That's very cheap. And if you're wondering, no, it will not activate the Hi-Fi DAC on your V20 phone, V10, V30, G6, and whatever LG phone that has a DAC. Now that's all great and all, it sounds pretty great, the microphone is good, the noise cancellation does work pretty well, and if you run out of battery you can hook it up through the included cable. But one important thing is how comfortable are they? These earpads do look very comfortable, alright, so they're very cushiony, they're deep, and they feel pretty nice. But unfortunately, these are very tiny. Now here's a size comparison of an HD598 ear cup. You can definitely see the size difference. This one covers your whole entire ear, while this one actually does not. It actually covers half of your ear and it's just very uncomfortable. Not only that, but these do clamp on pretty hard. Not as hard as the HyperX Cloud 2s, but enough to actually make it uncomfortable on top of the earpads that don't fully cover your ears. And if you're someone who wears glasses like me, the experience is only going to get worse. Now these things would have been pretty amazing if we had custom earpads like these, or just earpads that are pretty much larger with this kind of depth. These are Brainwaves earpads, and I have reviewed them with the HyperX Cloud 2s. If you want to check out the video, I'll leave it over there in the description below. But yeah, these earpads are custom, you buy them separately and you attach them to your headphones if they fit, but unfortunately these are too small, so they're not going to fit and they're not going to work. Now the padding here is a bit weird. It's a nice rubber texture, but if you press on it, it's actually very hard under. It's just plastic. So basically what you have here is a rubber layer, and then right under it is hard plastic. You don't feel it until you actually press on it with your fingers really hard, or you press down the headset on top of your head. Then you'll feel the plastic under the rubber. A bit more padding on top would have been nice, but I didn't have too much of an issue with it. It's just that it may actually wear off eventually. Now the comfort problems don't end there. They actually have one more thing, and it's actually pretty weird. Now although it has a ton of adjustments, swivel, tilt, and of course height adjustments, these somehow end up very awkwardly sitting on my head. I would wear them and I would look at myself in the mirror and they would look completely off, and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, so here's a head and here's what it looks like when you have them on straight. Now you may think it looks pretty good and everything, you know, you try to adjust it and whatnot, and eventually your headset will actually be like this. Now here's a better angle of it. You can see it's actually tilted at an angle. It's very weird, and I have never had a pair of headphones end up like this. It is very awkward. I mean, you put the headset on, they don't sit on top of your ear, and they don't cover your whole ear, but they sit somewhere in the middle. So half of your ear would be inside the ear cups, and half of them would be actually out, and it's very uncomfortable on top of the clamping power that these have. But yeah, you'd adjust them and eventually you would end up with something a bit like this. One side is tilted, and it looks very awkward, and imagine in the public this would look very, very awkward. Everyone's looking at you like, what is going on with his headphones? Does he know? I don't know why that's that, but now you know. So here's a closer look at the controls that we have on the right side. Over here we have the microphone for the noise cancellation. That's pretty much what scans your environment. And then we have the power button, as well as a power and status indicator. Right below it, you get the skip forward and skip back. And lastly, pause and play by pressing it downwards. It has some springy action to it. Right below it, we got the volume up and down. The headset cable, which actually is a 2.5mm connection. And no, you cannot actually use these on the HD598s. And the HD598s cannot be used over here. But the mechanism is very similar. They go in and they twist. And lastly, we have the micro USB connection for, of course, charging this thing, and no, you cannot hook it up to your computer. So that's actually about it. And the last thing to talk about here is the microphone. It sounds pretty okay. It's nothing crazy. It's good enough for a call, and that's it. So here's what the microphone sounds like on the HD450s. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but this is what it sounds like. Keep in mind that depending on what phone you're using and what app you're using for voice, there's usually stuff that's already turned on by default that's going to enhance the audio and cancel out any noise. So yeah, that's what they sound like. And that is all for this video. So should you get the HD450 SE or any 450? Well, a quick recap, they sound good. Noise cancellation does work. Sometimes it glitches, at least for me. I could have a bad unit, who knows? But one thing for sure is that I have the frustration-free packaging here, so it might have been a refurbished unit, who knows? You guys did see at the beginning of the video, it wasn't really frustration-free. It was actually frustrating more because you try to cut the plastic around the headset itself, and there was no other way because the plastic was pretty tough. So you try to cut it out without damaging the headset. Anyways, that said, these are pretty expensive, and even with a sale, I really don't think they're worth the money. I mean, they sound pretty great. The hardware here, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. The build quality is great, just like every other Sennheiser headset I've owned, and I absolutely love the sound profile and the quality and pretty much everything about this thing except the comfort level. I'm sad to say it's pretty bad, at least for me. There are people who enjoy this. Maybe if you have smaller ears, it will work. Maybe if you're a kid, you'd enjoy this. But unfortunately, I would have hoped for something a bit bigger. I mean, the depth here is pretty great. It's fantastic. The material is on point. It's just that it's missing something bigger. I mean, I would have loved to use some ear pads like these on this pair, and this pair would have become my favorite pair of headphones, that's for sure, because yes, you can actually play games with it, and the latency here is actually very minimal, so you can definitely watch videos and movies and not have a problem with desyncing. Everything here is on point. So take it for what you will. This is what I think of it. I'm unfortunately going to be returning this. It doesn't work for me. I was planning on keeping these because I've been looking at the pictures of them and they looked very comfortable, but they just don't work for me. So there you go. And yeah, that is actually all for this video. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.